Alright, so I'm just to the east of log dump 1. You can see the 128.2 trail there and the 128.1 trail. This is a horseshoe road and this is the first windrow in this transect. It's just all these trees have just been pushed over the edge of the road. There's no substantial trees here, but it's a large amount. It's a compact pile, so it would burn pretty well. Just goes and goes and goes. It's probably close to 100 meters long. Runs right up the horseshoe. So the route of this transect will not follow the horseshoe. I'll be going up towards log dump 1 and I'll follow the ridge line and the fire break over the top, and it rejoins the horseshoe in about 500-600 meters. So as you can see, there's a lot down there. It's a huge amount. And if we go look over the other side, there's a massive amount of disturbance over here too. Pushed right down here, up here, and there's been a lot of water has come down here. There's a lot of pollution has occurred down here, and just a massive amount of destruction. Okay. So I started the transect just down there. This is just near log dump 1. Just a massive pile there. So that's the horseshoe just below me. I'm sort of more or less where log dump 1 will be. And this is the start of this massive windrow that runs pretty much solidly for around 150 meters up this hill. So I'm about a meter off the ground here, standing on just a massive pile of pretty tightly packed logs and debris, very flammable. Alright, I'm still in Roses Creek State Forest in 128.2, and I'm just going to document this debris pile, these massive windrows that have been left by clearing this fire break. I'll just walk the whole lot and film. It's not going to be particularly exciting, but it gives an idea of the scale of this pile of debris. And we're on top of a ridge here, so it's incredibly steep on either side. And further around where the Anderson Creek fire came over, the fire was actually crowning at the ridge top, so this fire break would fail if there was a hot fire coming through here. Got my 50 meter tape out. I guess the idea of this back burn was to push all the debris to this side and then black out down that way into the Kalang Valley. That's to the north, that way to Bellingen Valley. You can see they're not small trees, and as we get further up this hill into the mapped old growth, the trees become bigger. Alright, again, there's my 50-metre tape and the start of the 30-metre tape. So as I was saying, the plan was to burn that way into Kalang, but if the fire was to break this containment line, it would have lit up these windrows, and just the size of these windrows would have burnt for days and days, and then any subsequent wind or bad fire days would then just spread this fire down into the darkwood side. And again, if a fire was to come in either direction, it's had a big uphill burn to get to here, it would be crowning and it would have no trouble jumping this containment line. Have to excuse me, it's a very steep hill. So here's another tree. It's approximately $700 or $800 diameter. Just keeps going and going, this pile. It's a massive pile. As you can see below me here, it's getting a 25-30 degree slope straight down, and it just drops down for hundreds of meters down into Die Happy Creek. If the fire came from below, it would just be crowning by the time it hit this. I'd have no trouble lighting up this windrow. So we're getting more into the old growth now. You can see there's a substantial old tree there. Here's another pretty substantial tree that's been pushed over. That's 800 diameter. That's above breast height there. So you can see this is just a massive amount of destruction, and it's wet now, but a month ago it was completely bone dry up here and very, very flammable. Again, it drops steeply down below me there. On the top of the knoll here, this is all mapped old growth in front of me. There's a lot of tree hollows in here. It's really good quality habitat. And below here, that's a creek line that runs into the Kalang. I'm looking sort of west here towards Killicranky, and then south is the Kalang Valley running down there. If the fire had come from this direction, it would have been again crowning. By the time it hit this containment line, it would have jumped the ridge and broken the containment line, unless it was a cool burn. Another thing that's worth noting about this area is it's really ecologically significant. Little banks is here. We sat up the top there not that long ago in a little field of purple lilies. Maybe this species here. There's these little grass trees everywhere. It's really diverse forest, and prior to this it was undisturbed, and it's really full of biodiversity. We found greater gliders in here, sugar gliders, and a lot of koalas too. Also potoroos, long-nosed potoroos, I believe. So you can see that's where I am now, the blue spot. The brown layer is all mapped old growth, and you can see from the topography that it really gets steep quickly. And there's not just old growth, there's lowland rainforest down there. The country's high conservation value. So my final comment is, this is a massive amount of money spent on machine operators. It's a massive amount of disturbance. It's really very destructive to the habitat and the environment. This is just disturbance will probably bring weeds now into a weed-free forest. A lot of 100-year, 200-year-old trees with hollows have been just pushed over. In this steep ridge country, a ridgetop containment line, in my opinion, is not going to have a high chance of success. And what actually happened with the Andersons Creek fire here is it jumped the ridge and burnt into the Kalang and burnt itself out in the cool gullies down below. And that had minimum impact on the environment, as opposed to this, which is incredibly destructive, incredibly expensive, and probably not a high chance of success. All right, thank you.